All right, we are back. Last time we talked about uh, Officer Cato's trip to Kansas City. That was great. But this time, in case you couldn't tell, we have some guests, and I'm going to let you introduce who we've got.
Well, it, to tell the story of Catfish 126 and the military unit that was over there, there was no way I could explain that without explaining who this is to my left, because it's because of her that I know him, and he was the one that was over there with Catfish 126. So this is Mandy, and I don't remember a day in my life from probably 5 years old till I left high school and joined the Marine Corps that she wasn't around in my life. So these two met and ended up getting married. But Dennis here was in the National Guard, and he flew out of McIntyre Air Base, and they got deployed to Iraq. So while I was over there, he comes over. So this is how this whole thing got started. But I really needed to interject her in there to interject him in there.
Gotcha. Well, and the chapter itself, the story doesn't advance in terms of like what's going on with your time in Iraq, but it kind of pauses to make some pretty good connections, important connections that kind of, again, kind of help define you and your mission, and the fact that you'd said before you felt pretty alone over there, and so this was a nice reprieve from that.
Yes, it was. To have him over there, it really was. You know, it's a piece of home, that came to me. So for us to be standing 18,000 miles away in the middle of Baghdad, and it was just kind of surreal. So 1 minute we're back here at the beach, and the next minute we're standing in a combat zone. So it was just it was different. But
Well, you spent a lot of time talking about your time with Mandy and your affinity, but you weren't sure about this guy.
no, I was not. I was not. She was, but I was not. Because I didn't know who he was, and I had never had the opportunity to meet him. When I was in the Marines and I was stationed out at Camp Pendleton over in California, I didn't come home a lot. So when these two met, and I first heard about him through my mom, really. And then I was like, what's going on here? So I called her, and she said, yeah, I think I met the man I'm going to marry. And then she told me he used to be a Marine, and I was like, oh, no. But, yeah, that's kind of where the journey started. So I never met him until her wedding, actually. After the wedding, when I met him.
Which was a story in itself.
It was a story in itself. So Mandy decides to get married, and she asked if my daughter would be a flower girl, which of course. So we were all planning on flying home for that purpose, to go to the wedding. My daughter was going to be in the wedding. And then the Rodney King incident kicked off, and the riots started happening. And then the president called up the Marines, and one of the units was mine. So I wasn't going to be able to come home for the wedding. So I sent my wife at the time and daughters home for her wedding, and I stayed out there and was getting ready to go up to Los Angeles. And I had a good unit. I was a really, really good unit out there. And my captain came by and saw me, and he noticed that I just wasn't myself. And he asked me what was going on. I told him, I said, look, my sister's getting married, and I'm not going to be able to be there. And he said, get in the Jeep. We didn't have Humvees back then. Get back to Camp Pendleton and get going. And that's what I did. I think I left 36 hours later. I was standing in a church in Kershaw, South Carolina. So
Did you have to drive the Jeep the whole way?
no, I drove. I think I had a van then, but I drove it all the way back across the country. Yeah, it was interesting. So, and I don't think that. Did you know I was coming across? So she didn't even know I was coming. So nobody thought I was going to be able to make it. So
Surprise.
it was kind of a surprise to that picture you saw.
That was great.
That was as soon as I got to the church, actually.
That was
and I
great.
still hadn't seen him.
You still didn't know
I
who
met
this.
him.
You know, still didn't know who he was.
Well, we've actually we're done. We just covered pretty much all of Catfish 126, but which is true. But most of this is just going to be you guys talking and reminiscing and kind of adding some context and some color to all of these great stories.
So You want to tell them where y'all met at?
Well, we actually met in the back of a truck,
Oh.
Yeah, we both worked for UPS,
and she loaded
and
my
I loaded
package
his
car.
truck.
She loaded the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
What time do you
Good.
work in the morning? 3 o'clock in the
Slinging
morning?
those boxes.
I went in at 4 in the morning,
Oh my gosh.
and he came in and drove the package cars. Yeah.
And it was something about that brown uniform.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it took a while.
For him or you?
He was married before.
I was married at the time. I was.
So I saw the wedding ring and said, "Oh no," and that was it. And then one day I was loading the truck and I heard him tell another guy, "Well, that you know what did this and that you know what did this," and I'm like, "Something's going on here." And then he's like, "Yep, she's gone, kicked her out." And then he asked me out. I worked another full-time job too, so he kept asking me out, and I kept having to work. And then finally we connected. So at St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
Oh.
Down at 5
And
Points.
down in
That's
5
what I
Points.
Man, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people connect.
yeah.
And been together ever since.
Yeah.
Hey.
And that was March. He asked me to marry him that December, and we got married in May.
Oh wow.
Yep.
So then as I got to know Dennis and we started moving through our friendship, we're no good together.
You alluded to that.
Yeah.
You hinted.
Yeah, we're not very good together.
Your trip to Lowe's.
We have to be highly supervised at all times, I think. But
Small leash.
yeah, yeah. So and I think as we've gotten older, we've gotten better. But,
Thank God.
But in our younger days, it was pretty much a mess. But you know, when all this popped off and this war business popped off, and I had already been Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Somalia, and Afghanistan. And Dennis had been doing, you know, he was in the Marine Corps and he was in the Air Guard, and nothing ever popped up. So he never had combat time. And I feel like he wanted it.
Oh yeah. Everybody wants that, you know. And also watch out what you ask for.
Yeah, true.
might get it.
True enough. So when this thing kicked off, we still wasn't sure that he was going to be going. I mean, we just didn't know. And then when he found out he had orders and he was going to be going over, and I came home for a month before you went down to Texas to do your training.
Yep. We all went to Myrtle Beach.
We all went to Myrtle Beach. That's when his son, who knew he was going to Iraq and was only like 8 years old, looked at me and asked me if his daddy would survive Iraq. Will my daddy survive Iraq? Will he live? And I just never even thought about that. It's just not something that enters your mind, right? You know, Dennis come going to war, good, we'll be over there. But you never think about the back end of that till that kid said that to me. And then I stood there and told him, your daddy will be fine. He'll come back alive. And just had to hope I wasn't lying to him. You
Yeah,
know?
the way you worded it in the chapter, it was and I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm checking it right now. You said something like it was a promise that you knew you couldn't, not that you knew you couldn't keep, but it was something like that.
I hope he didn't have to break that promise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and then you left it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he walks in the door, and I'm like, okay, thank goodness. I didn't know.
Didn't know if he
I
would or
had no
not.
idea.
You know, but he had some pretty close calls over there. And I don't want to go too deep into this because I do want to have him come back as we talk about some of the things down the road because he continues to be in the book here.
Nice.
And me being a private contractor with a company out of the UK, we didn't have hardly any support, especially air support. And my guys were running all over the country. And a lot of times they just had to jump in a vehicle and drive, which wasn't the safest thing to do. So when Dennis came along, he was like, hey, man, y'all need to be flown somewhere. Just get on a list. We'll pick you up. We'll take you. So I went back and told my company this, and they were absolutely ecstatic. They were just thrilled, right? So it worked to my advantage, him coming over and being able to do that. And they had a lot of freedom, too, who they could pick up and
Yeah,
take.
that's what I was thinking. Is you could just be like, hey, if you need a ride, I'll come take you somewhere. And
Well, being an aviation unit like we were, we did a lot of transporting. And we would always fly in to Baghdad in the green zone in the mornings. You know, we were like 60 miles north of Baghdad. And we would have a route that we would fly all over the country. And if he needed to be dropped off somewhere, hey, we'll be there. Come on.
he was just kind of on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Ish.
And then once Dennis got there, and I started to realize the gravity of everything he would be doing. Flying over there is just a different animal. I mean, the way they had to do it in some of the cities, as low as they had to fly, because you could have been shot down with anything over there.
Yeah, we were low.
Yeah, I mean, if you were standing in between buildings, you would hear these helicopters coming. You had no idea where they were coming from. It sounded like it was 360 degrees. And then it would just go woof, right over top of your head. They're moving that fast, that low.
Oh.
Yeah. I would stand on top of my building, the government building, which was 14 stories, I think, 12 to 14. They would fly under me.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, is
I
that
can
low?
look up and see him.
Yeah,
No one has ever said that
Yeah.
about Dana Cato before.
that's a fact. That's a fact.
Absolutely.
But yeah, they would fly under me. So you know, I realized how dangerous his mission was. And now I got his sons on my mind. I got her on my mind. And I'm like, damn, we got to keep this guy alive somehow.
I made him promise me that if he did get killed, he'd bring him back.
Yeah.
He promised me that.
And that's a pretty hard ask, right? If my husband dies, make sure you bring him home to me.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
So, you know, it put things in perspective for me. It's easy when you go into something like that. All the thing you got to worry about is you.
Yeah.
That's simple enough. But then you have to worry about this other end. But you know, I don't know, man. If that would have happened, I don't know. I don't know what. I don't even like to think about it because I don't know. I don't know where our relationship would be at this point either.
Yeah. I
You know, you just don't know. So it was. I'm just glad he came out of it alive. So he did a lot for
Yeah,
me.
because you had two promises at stake.
Yeah, yeah.
You did.
He did a lot for me while he was over there and for my company, but I took care of them too. See, here's one thing these guys couldn't do over there: they couldn't drink.
What? At all?
We weren't allowed to. I didn't have any rules. So whenever I'd fly up to his base, I'd come in with bottles of Jack Daniels. Buddy. Boom, boom, boom. That was kind of my payment for, hey,
That was your cab fare.
yeah, here, y'all help me out. Help me out.
And here's something too. We didn't get blistered.
No.
You know, it was just something knocked the dust off the back of your throat before you went to bed that night. You know,
You know, water would do that too.
I drank plenty of that.
No, it's you know, living over there, the way they were, we lived totally different, right? So on my compound, I actually had a house, and you'll read about that later on too. And y'all stayed in those little FEMA trailers, didn't you?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, and those things, you know, with the mortars and rockets falling out of the sky, it wasn't like that was a hard built
No.
thing
no,
you were
right.
staying in. Yeah. So, you know, when I'd go up and stay with him, I was kind of leery at night. I was safer where I was at down in Baghdad, right? So, yeah, their living conditions weren't ideal by any means, especially, and I don't think a lot of people think about this, toiletry. It's a bunch of porta-johns over there. It's 130 degrees. And you're already wearing all this military garb to begin with, and then you climb in that box.
I will never walk in another porta-john again. Never.
It's miserable, right? So I see Dennis at the Gamecock games now. He's pissing behind us. So the living conditions weren't, and up there where he was, it was a dust bowl too.
Yeah.
I mean, a dust bowl.
I think they said we averaged our year tour. There was over 7,000 mortars popped into our.
7,000. Now, you were not with a contracting company.
No, I was in the Army.
You were okay.
I was in the Army. I was attached to the 82nd Airborne out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And then when they left, we were still in our turn in the 101st Airborne, the Screaming Eagles of Fort Campbell. And we got attached to them. But it really didn't mean who we were attached to. Our mission was every day. I flew 6 days a week over the wire.
And how many? Like, how long was a? You say you flew for how long? How many missions? How many?
It
hours?
was over. It was right at 800 missions I flew,
Oh my gosh.
and a lot of flying, and here's something too. It would be 94% boredom, same thing. 6% put your hair on fire. It would really get intense.
Was there a reason why you had to fly so low?
You didn't want to get shot down. Was
Oh, so the lower you were, the safer you were.
safer you were.
In a city.
Oh, because
in
what
a
you were
city
saying,
environment.
because
Yeah.
you wouldn't know if you were flying up high, people would just there you are.
RPG on the back of that tail, and that bird's coming down.
Oh,
Yeah. So now out in the desert, they can get up there and fly. This bastard, so it picks me up one time. And so here's the deal. I got my rifle with me, right? They fly with the doors open, right?
right.
So I'm sitting there, doors are open, which I didn't feel real good about. I was like, I can't even just shut the doors at least, right?
It's a little drafty in here.
So he's a gunner on the aircraft, right? He's crew chief, but he's got a weapon. He's got a 240 Golf, 7.62 millimeters, boom, 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 belt fed.
Mean. It's mean.
Yes,
It just
yeah.
sounds mean.
So I get on this bird lifts up, we take off. I'm just flying along. He starts firing. Other guy starts firing. I got my weapon. I'm like, where they at?
He's not hooked up on the radio, so
can't hear nothing.
he don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on. I'm like, who's shooting?
And
at us?
I'm
Where they
sitting there
shooting?
grinning. I'm grinning like
They're
hell.
test firing their weapons and they ain't told me nothing. I think we're under attack.
You got a knife out in a helicopter. You're like, where's he at?
And then on the same flight, I still don't have any headphones on. Dennis is up there talking, and he wears his helmet's got goggle mask on it, right? So he's talking, and he looks back at me. He starts smiling. I'm like, what the hell is he up to now? And then this bird started going. Phew. It's trying to make me sick. It's doing negative G's.
So I got ammo cans are floating in the air, and I'm grabbing them. He's back there holding onto his rifle. He's like, I am not getting sick.
I'm not getting sick.
I'm not getting sick.
It ain't gonna happen. You could try, but it ain't gonna work. So we cut up a lot. We did. We had a lot of fun. And usually when I would go up to visit him, they would always. It seemed like every time I went up there, we had a sandstorm. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get out. I couldn't go where I needed to go because they can't fly.
I used the term bad penny. I couldn't get rid of him.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
I'd come up there and I'd hit the ground. It'd be beautiful outside, and then boom, here's the sandstorm. Well, they can't fly in that. And when a sandstorm comes by you, it's not like the sandstorm comes and it's gone. When it comes by and leaves the main part, it's just standing.
The best way to describe it is like a very foggy day. When you think of a sandstorm, you think of Lawrence of Arabia, the wind and stuff. No, it just comes rolling in like a fog.
Yeah.
And you can't see nothing.
Yeah. And that doesn't do a helicopter any good.
No.
That doesn't do a rifle any good. Nothing that you got to put oil or hydraulic fluid on.
And that's when the mortars would come in.
Yeah.
Because they
You
had
can't
no
spot
way
'em.
they couldn't spot them.
Yeah, you can't spot them. So I'd bring the sandstorms and the mortars every time I would show up. They just followed me everywhere I went.
Everybody was like, great, David's back.
So it was the base he was on was massive. It was just massive.
Well, now I know why you brought liquor every time.
Yeah.
It's because they were not happy to
Yeah.
see you there
Here we go.
otherwise.
Let's get drunk before the sandstorms come.
That base was 19 miles in circumference.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was huge.
Wow.
So for them to actually shoot into the middle of that thing would have been really hard for them to do. But anything on the outskirts of where all the airfields and everything were. Yeah, I think do I have a Delta Force up there too? Yeah.
Really?
They had a Delta Force compound up there as well. So it was a big base
And a Navy SEAL.
and a Navy SEAL operation.
did.
So one side of that base was all helicopters, and the other side was all fixed wing aircraft. And it was just massive, massive base.
Did the SEALs and the Deltas like eye each other up? Like, I'm better than you?
They stayed in their own compound. They didn't leave it. I never really saw anyone, except when they were fixing to leave on missions. They'd be out on the flight line.
Yeah. So, and another thing I had, they didn't have, was I had a phone. And my phone was run through an MCI contract that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That tower that it ran off of ran out of New Jersey. So I could call, and
Really?
it bounced off a tower out of New Jersey. So I could call Mandy and say, hey, talk to Dennis, right? Because he could only call home at certain times. And if someone on that base had gotten killed, they shut down all communications till the family's been notified. So you couldn't call anything, anybody, do anything. So I kept him in touch with her pretty well.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Remember when Jacob ran away?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
They were together.
We were.
Watching the Daytona 500.
Yeah, I went up there and watched the race.
Sure did.
and I
Ricky
was
Stenhouse Jr. was probably like 4 years old at the time.
Yeah.
It may have been.
and I was getting ready to go to his wife at the time's house to watch the race. Well, Jacob didn't want to go, so he ran away. So I'm communicating with her, so she gets in touch with him,
And I'm sitting with Dennis.
and they're like, "What do y'all want me to do?"
Yeah, I'm 18,000 miles away.
Yeah,
What do you
I
want
said,
me
here,
to do?
here,
Get in the helicopter and just.
I said, oh, really? Here, Dennis, your son ran away. But you're right. What are you going to do?
And he ran across the street in the woods, was sitting there watching.
Yeah,
That's as far as he went.
yeah, he didn't go far, but I didn't know that at the time.
So as far as communication goes, sometimes it's good to have. Sometimes it's not.
Right.
Look, Dennis is going to be flying the next morning, right?
Yeah.
I'm making him stay up and watch the race at a god-awful hour to begin with because it started over there like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, it was awful.
So,
It was awful.
and he's got all these things going on. What's he going to do? Does he really need to know that?
Right.
Right? You know? So sometimes communication's good, sometimes it's bad. You know, but they did find Jacob and everything was fine. And Dennis stayed up and watched the race with me and then almost crashed his helicopter the next day.
Did you really?
It was a bad day. It was a bad day.
He had no sleep. It was rough. It was rough. So he flew a lot. He did fly.
Needless
a
to
lot.
say, I did not watch any more races.
No more races.
No.
How many hours a day did you fly?
We would start at 4 in the morning to go
Oh,
prep.
that
Prep
was
the air,
bad. That
prep,
was bad.
prep. You got to prep the aircraft. You got to get your ammo. Got to get the gun out there. You know, you check your aircraft. You do a walkthrough, and make sure everything's there. And about 6 o'clock in the morning, we were lifting off, and we wouldn't get back till 5 or 6
Ooh.
in the afternoon. Yeah,
Oh.
it was all day.
I didn't realize actually what he did as a crew chief. I thought he just got on the plane and flew away, right?
He was up there and he was bunking in my room. And I go to get up, that morning, 4 a.m. I said, get your ass up. You're coming with me.
Man, I can't fly the plane. I don't need to go out there.
I don't see you're good. I don't.
He going to lay in the bed for 2 hours longer. No.
So I went out there, but I didn't realize that, he's talking about all the checks, that even to the point checking fuel, make sure there's not any dirt or anything in it, having to take just pretty detailed what they have to do before that bird lifts off the ground.
Every day?
Every day.
Wow.
Yeah. Which, that made me feel better flying them.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So now that I know they're working, the aircraft he was on, with that Black Hawk, that's an outstanding aircraft.
Yeah, it's strong.
Yeah.
It's strong.
It really is. So we when I first started flying on aircraft in the Marine Corps, the first one I got on was a bird that flew in Vietnam. So it was just totally different back then. And I remember looking real nervous and scared. I was scared getting on this helicopter. First time I'd ever been on it. And my sergeant looked at me and said, "What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you?" I said, "It's leaking oil." He said, "That's not oil. It's hydraulic fluid. And if you ever get on a helicopter and you don't see one leaking, get off of it." That's what keeps them flying. So, but this one, y'all didn't have a lot of leaks or anything. That just
No,
a
it's
smooth
a
flying
good bird.
Yeah.
It's like a Jaguar. It's smooth.
And it's fast.
Something else too, when you watch war movies and stuff, and you see people on a helicopter and they're talking just like you or I. No, it is so loud.
You ain't gonna talk.
Really?
You can't talk.
Unless you got these on,
Yeah.
you're talking to each other. But like if we're sitting next to you, we're not talking. Not talking at all. You can't hear anything, especially with the doors open. Yeah. But I used to fly with Dennis. I'd come home on leave and fly with him out at McIntyre because when I was active duty, I could do that. So I'd come
Yeah,
fly.
you mentioned that in the book.
Yeah. So I'd come fly. I'd come back and he'd have drill weekend. I'd be like, "Let's go. Let's go."
We were doing what we call nickel rides. They're trying to get recruits or get people in the guard. And recruiters would bring their poolies to Fort Jackson. We'd fly over there and pick them up and take them for a little trip.
Really?
Yeah. And we'd get down, shut down. I'd go there and give a safety briefing, explain to them what they got to do, do's and don'ts and stuff. All right, we'd crank up. Damn, this one kid, same seat, whoever this kid was. He put this 4-point harness seat belt, comes over, clicks in, but he'd have his damn leg and the seat belt be coming through here every time. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Then I look back at this jackass. He's over there no.
They got it sitting in there right.
Yeah, like that. I'm like, what the hell is going
I'd look,
on?
Dennis would look back at him. He'd go over there and fix him. I just put him right back where he was. So played little games. So I guess everything he did to me in Iraq, I probably deserved. But no, it would get. There was one time. I think I talk about this later on in the book, but I'll go ahead and put it out there. That I went to see Dennis. I had a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, stuff back home, stuff over there, trying to figure out what my next move was. Dennis got a Humvee, and we drove out into the middle of that base, and the sandstorm came in. And I had a bottle of liquor. We just got in the back of it, and the mortar started coming in. And we just sitting there drinking. Boom, 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 boom.
Like, if it hits it, it hits it.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Yeah, exactly.
God
Exactly.
will.
So so we had our times together over there.
We got our stories.
Yeah.
Our stories.
Yeah.
So-
And they get a little more detailed and better as we move along.
How much time were you guys there together?
I was there a year.
I was there from 2003 to 2006, off and on. So I'd do 4 months in, 2 months out, 4 months in, 2 months out. That's what I did. And then he was there for a solid year. So, and I probably saw you, every other month?
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably got up there every other month or so.
And then when
Or
we
he would come down to Green Zone.
Green Zone, we'd go eat lunch or something, and
Yeah.
I'd hook up with him.
Yeah. So if he flew people down to where I was, like the Green Zone was, this big around, and it had a helicopter pad, little helicopter pad in the middle of it, and so when he'd come down, they'd drop, put the birds down, shut them down. We go eat, So we got to see each other quite a bit. Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. And then I'd, of course, call her, keep her informed of everything that was going on over there as far as, what was happening, the environment, things that were happening in the Green Zone that might affect him. But it was, it's still kind of surreal that here we live
Yeah.
2 miles from each other. And we spent a year 18,000 miles away from here together for 2 separate reasons. 2 separate reasons.
Yeah, you were doing it for the money.
When I took the contract, in 2003, there was no plan of him coming.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is how long were you there before he got there? So it's about
2 years.
2 years.
Right at maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So I got there in 2003. In June of 2003, you showed up 2005.
2005. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yep. January 8th.
so yeah, about a year and a half. Yeah, and really that was one of my trips home is when I found out he was.
Yeah,
going.
we were at the beach at Myrtle Beach, and that's when I got the phone call. Hey, we've been called up. Title 10 orders. We are going to Iraq, and then that's when my oldest son, which was 8, like, Dana, you been over there? You came back. Well, my daddy come back.
Yeah, yeah.
And for a little fella, that was a lot for him to take in.
You mean him? Oh, you meant your son.
I think for both of us it was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
You looked at him right in his eyes.
Yeah. Well, he was sitting down. I can't look at him in his eyes now.
No,
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
So that was just a long time ago. But I never really asked you what you were experiencing at home while all this was going on.
You just, I mean, it was hard, but you just did it. You woke up every day and did the same thing over and over again. You just, life went on. The hardest thing, it was 2 hard things. One was silly. Back to Jacob again. We do have another child, but Jacob had one of these little things at school, at elementary school, where I can't remember, the Golden Fork Award or something, and he had to wear a tie. We couldn't tie a tie. He could. Our father-in-law who lived next door couldn't tie a tie, and I was freaking out. That's the first meltdown I had, was not being able to tie this tie. And so finally, mother-in-law called another neighbor, and he tied the tie. But then the second time, he came home for 2 weeks for leave in July. It was July 4th. And it was great. But then he had to go back. When he left the first time, I didn't shed a tear. But when he left that second time, I couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. I'm trying not to cry now, remembering it. But anyway, that was awful. I wouldn't go through that again. He could have stayed.
He should have. And,
Yeah.
and we make that suggestion to people.
Yeah. Don't go back home.
Don't go back home.
Really?
Do your time.
Do your time.
Do your time.
Well,
Because
you-
that's a hard gap.
You talked about that another time. It's supposed to be vacation, but a lot of times it's harder than it.
Exactly. Exactly. Because, you're standing in a combat zone today. You're home with your family on vacation tomorrow. That doesn't work.
And she wanted me to come home, and I tried to talk her out of it. I wanted to go to Normandy for my 2 weeks. Just go to Normandy, see the old World War II monuments and stuff, just to relax, clear my head, and go back. I would still be over there, not in the States, because that's a hell of a plane ride. To come back, then you got to do that again. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy.
Well, I didn't know. You didn't know.
No, you didn't.
If he'd have
Yeah.
stayed in, it wouldn't have happened again. So, but I had, his parents lived beside us at the time, so I had a lot of help.
And it's got to be tough when, I mean, to your point of don't go back. Like, how do you tell like your wife, hey, I know I can, but I'm not gonna. But you're also doing it for them.
Yeah.
But that's just got to be an impossible thing for somebody to be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I understand.
Yeah.
It's
No,
gotta be
you're right.
tough.
I mean, a wife can look at that in a couple of different ways, right?
Most of them not good.
Right, exactly. So, but
Understandably so.
One good thing that happened over there, when we lived in Moss Creek, had a friend of mine. He was running for the state senate. His name was Gary Prince, and Gary was running against. He's been there forever, West Columbia guy. But Joe Wilson was the guest of honor at our house. We had a little thing going on trying to raise money for Gary to run Nikki Setzler. We're running against Nikki Setzler. And that evening goes off, great. Well, lo and behold, there I'm landing in Kirkuk, Iraq. And I look on the manifest, it's Joe Wilson that I'm picking up. And it was a little compound that only one helicopter could land, because we always flew with 2 helicopters, so the other one just kept orbiting. So we land, and we're still running. You know, you don't shut down because you may have to haul ass and go, mortars or whatever the hell may go on. And so I get out the bird, I walk in, and I'm looking for him. And I'm geared up, pistol, you know, my flight suit and everything, just got my helmet, I'm carrying my helmet. And he walks and he looks at me and he says, I can't remember your name, but I met you at your house in Casey. I said, yes, sir, you did. And he said, well, man, how's it going? I said, well, you know, we're in Iraq. He said, well, listen. I said, we got to go. I said, grab your gear, whatever, I'll help you. We'll get on the aircraft. So him and his aide de camp that was with him, we get on the bird, and I flew them back to Baghdad. And they got on an airplane. I guess they went to Kuwait. And there were some pictures taken. And a couple of days later, Joe Wilson's, one of his cronies or whatever in West Columbia, come by and brought pictures of me and him. And, well, you were there. You probably tell the story better.
Well, they just knocked on my door one day out of the blue, and it was it wasn't a couple of days later. It was several weeks later.
Okay.
Because I think it was the same aide that was with him over there. But anyway, just showed up at the door and brought me the pictures and a pen and a few other things, you know, and he signed it, thanking Dennis for his service and all. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
And what was pretty cool too, he said, look, Dennis is doing great. Just want to let you know. I just wanted to reach out and touch you. And
Yeah,
that,
so that was
was
neat.
really sweet.
That's
I didn't even know that.
that's so weird. I mean, like, guy was just in Casey not long ago, and then here you are picking him up.
The pictures outside
I've seen the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
How's it going?
and flew a bunch of dignitaries. Flew Hillary Clinton,
Yeah.
John McCain.
Yeah.
That's a story in itself there.
Yep. Clinton, McCain, and Lindsey Graham.
And Lindsey Graham.
They all came over together because he had to fly them. I had to guard them. So it's yeah. We'll talk about that too later on too. So there's still some. He's still in that book quite a bit going forward. Yeah. But you know, I don't think either one of us would trade not one day of time over there. You know, for the betterment of what we became out of that. So certainly wouldn't. And you would have never thought the relationship I had with her. See, her mom and my mom were best friends. I mean, connected at the hip.
And the best way we describe it to people, it's easier to say they're brother and sister.
Well, so when I read this, I was like, wait a minute. Because when we talked about you guys coming in, he said
Sister, probably,
it's
yeah.
his sister. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, he's talking about his sister. And so I read the chapter, and I'm like, wait a minute.
It ain't in there.
It's not in there.
It's just a
But he
lot
did.
easier sometimes.
I mean, and he never said this person who I refer to nope. He just straight up said, yeah, my sister and her husband will be coming in. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Now, you got him in California, okay? She's telling me their relationship, and I'm over saying bullshit. There
Yeah,
ain't
nobody
way,
believed
no
us.
No.
way in the world y'all can have a friendship like that. There's no way.
Well, you talked about that too. You said
Yeah.
that people didn't,
Yep. Well,
if they didn't know.
my girlfriends could not quite understand this.
And they're-
Even the ones who knew her.
and their ex-girlfriends
we-
for a reason.
Yeah.
In Kershaw, what we did on Sunday afternoon was cut town.
Yeah, just ride around.
Right around cut town. And sometimes he'd come pick me up and we'd go cut town. His girlfriend at the time was up there, and I had to duck every time we passed her.
tell me.
I had to get down in the seat. Here she comes, Mandy. Get down. So I'd have to get down. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I was born in October. She was born in May, and my youngest memory that really goes back to Mandy was that one probably in the book about jumping into
The swimming.
water. But we were swimmers, so we were born in the sign of water. I mean, that was our thing, man. We were swimmers. So we were 6 years old when we started swimming competition. 6. So we go to the swimming pool, and there's two coaches. There's a female coach, and there's a guy in a wheelchair. His name's John Cook. He was a lieutenant in the Army and had been shot up the back of his spine
In Vietnam.
in Vietnam. But he was all Army. I mean, all the time, right? So I'm swimming, and I can't remember which one of us got out first. Do you? Mm-mm. Anyway, John starts screaming at us, with that military. He's in that wheelchair, number one. That scared me to death. And he's wearing all camouflage. He had on his military uniform and
At the pool.
and a boonie hat, right? Like old recon hat. And he's screaming. And I don't remember if I started crying and got out of the pool or she started crying and got out of the pool. But one of us saw the other, and we were both sitting up there beside each other crying outside of the pool. 'Cause
Scared to death.
John had scared us to death. Now, story about John, and God rest his soul, he's dead now. But as we grew, we were around that pool. All of that, we became lifeguards at that pool. That pool was us. John became part of our life. Taking him out of his car, putting him in his car, emptying his urine thing, everything.
Really?
Yeah. So, for us to be as crying and scared as guys we were when we were 6, at 15, he was dependent on us for a lot of things, And
He was a big swimmer before he went to Vietnam, too.
he was.
Yeah.
And he could take himself over to, and I mean paralyzed from like here down. And he would roll himself over the pool and just dump himself in. Cause he could,
Really?
Yeah, he could stay out there and float for hours. It was comfortable for him.
Now, this guy here does not have nostrils. He's got gills.
Yeah,
He is a swimmer.
and
he was the swimming coach here
Yep.
at Chapin for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. So, we love, and my family had a little cabin on Lake Watery. And, man, during the summer, we'd just move over there. And she'd go stay with me. We would just stay over there. It was just what we did. And we stayed in the water all the time.
All the time.
All the time. So, that was because we were just around each other every single day, all the time. And it was just, and I could, from a male point of view, Dennis had never met me. So I could understand that,
Sure.
This is an unusual relationship. It is an unusual relationship. And, I mean, we'd screen each other's boyfriends, girlfriends, and that was just what we did, I mean, Mandy lived, how far did you live? Me half a mile? Not even
Yeah,
that.
not even that.
Yeah, maybe a quarter mile. So we'd walk home from school together. It just
Yeah.
everything.
Vacations.
Yeah.
Every year we went to the beach together.
Yeah, we did. Her mom, my mom, we would go down
Spring made.
Spring May Beach, and we would stay down there for 2 weeks, yeah. Every single year. Or we'd go Carowinds or Six Flags or whatever. We just always were together.
The state fair.
Yeah, and her mama had a big old station wagon, and we always used to pile up in it. Because I got a brother, she's got 2 brothers. And, but we were the right age. So we just all pile up in this station wagon, her mom, my mom, and all the kids, and we just go. All the time. So it was a great life. We were raised in a small town. You didn't have to worry about anything. So we ran pretty free.
1 mile in circumference,
Yes, the town.
the town.
The town.
What?
1 mile.
1 mile.
Yeah.
It's small.
1 mile, yeah, Kershaw, little teeny thing. So, and there's probably less people there now than there were then because it used to house the mills, right? It was all the mill. It was a mill hill town, and the mill's gone.
Well, no, yeah, but now they got the prison.
Oh, and Hell Gold Mine.
Yeah, and Hell Gold Mine.
Yeah, we were stepping up.
Population doubled when the prison went in.
Well, there's I just went back there the other week. I don't go down there much. My parents are buried there as well as hers. So if I do go down there, it's usually if I got to have a reason to go, and I'll go by the graveyards or whatever. But there's a place there called 40 Acre Rock. It is a 40-acre rock. I'm not kidding. This is a big, huge boulder. You can't really tell it's a rock, but it is. It's a rock. When we were young, we used to drive out there and drive onto the rock. This is where everybody go drink their beer and, just have little parties, build little fires. Well, now it's a national park.
Lame.
Yes, really. So I took my wife back there a couple weeks ago because I had not been to 40 Acre Rock probably since 1980 or 81. we used to drive on that rock. You got to walk almost a mile now to get to the rock. So this old guy was coming out, him and his wife, and I was joking with him. I said something about, is the rock still out there or something? We got to talking. I said, yeah, I hadn't been here probably since 80 or 81. He said, I haven't been here since 1967.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's a national monument now. So.
And then they got devil's footprints.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They're it's like, it looks like, well, I don't want to know what the devil looks like, but
It's like
we
the
used
fork.
to call it.
Like fork, yeah.
Yeah, like dinosaur.
Call it devil's footprint.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that area.
They didn't have a whole lot.
We didn't have a lot to do. Listen, we had to make our own fun.
We did.
There was another bridge out there close to this 40-acre rock. It was called Crybaby Creek. That's what we called it.
The names of these places.
Well,
are
because
amazing.
here was the thing. So what it was is a mama was driving across the bridge and she wrecked the car. And the babies fell out of the car and off the bridge and down into the water and died. So if you go out there and turn your car off, you can hear the babies crying. Now, the story is BS, but it's the bobcats is what you're hearing out there. But we would scare each other to death going out there. Just sit there shaking, scared to death. Had an old graveyard out there called Gregory's Graveyard, and it was dark during the day. Had a big tree in the middle of it, looked like a hand over the grave. And we'd go out there and we'd just scare each other to death. There was just nothing else to do at that time. We swam and we went to the graveyard. And 40-acre rock.
It cut tail.
And cut town. That's all we did. But that was what our life consisted of. And then when I joined the Marines and left, and I would come home, Mandy was working for...
I was working for the Columbia Parks and Recreation Department.
Yes. So basically, and I'm going to say this now, because I'm the age of these people that Mandy used to have parties for on Saturday
I was a senior
night.
citizens
Yes.
director.
Yeah. So I'd come home and Mandy'd be like, I'd stay with her. And she'd be like, yeah, I got this dance for these seniors, for these old people. I got this dance for these old people. I'd go with her. Man, we had the best time. These people were great. And then they would invite us back to like their lake homes and stuff.
Oh.
And and they'd have big parties, big drinking parties there. And
We couldn't drink at the Parks and Recreation.
no, you
Right.
couldn't. No. So, but that was fun. And I look back at that now and I think, God, we sat around and called them people old.
And
And
Look
here we
now.
are. We're here. We're on top of it. I'm probably going to be going to a dance Saturday night.
well, I do want to take ballroom dancing.
Yeah. But we did. We had a lot of fun. I'd come back and see her, and then once I got married, and then I started having kids, and I was stationed on the other side of the country. It just
Well, when y'all were living in Beaufort, I would go see them in Beaufort.
she would, and in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah,
when
and
was
I
there.
went in Jacksonville. Yeah,
She'd come down and stay with us down there. And really, my oldest daughter, when it was in her wedding, they had a really good relationship.
And I was the flower girl at her wedding.
Sure enough.
Really?
Yeah.
She got me 2 years ago.
Yeah, flipped it on us.
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the flower girl.
Yeah, sure enough. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, got married up in a winery in North Carolina somewhere. That was a good time too. But
Lake Lure.
Lake Lure, yeah.
No.
Before it was destroyed.
Were you a bridesmaid
No.
in that wedding?
No, I just
Like
sat
you
back
were-
and watched.
Okay.
No, that was funny. But I've sat through her wedding with the bridesmaids. That's where I was sitting with all of them. One of them was pregnant. And I mean about to pop pregnant. Who was that?
Kendra.
Kendra. So when I knew that when they said I do, and knowing that he was in the Marine Corps, I was going to give out a big hoorah, real loud. So I'd already told Kendra, I said, listen,
Don't have this baby.
don't have this baby. So, and when they did finally kiss, I screamed that out, and everybody in the church was like, what was that?
One of the bridesmaids.
Yeah. and still didn't know Dennis. I'm seeing him up here, marrying her, and I still don't know who he
I
is.
have not spoken to him.
Yeah. And so his all of his guys that were in his wedding, I didn't know anything, right? These are all Dennis's friends. If I don't know Dennis, I certainly don't know his friends. So
Now, were any of them Marines?
No.
no.
No, so they had no idea.
No.
They were just like, who's this short bridesmaid, this bald bridesmaid yelling hoorah?
Yeah, yeah.
What is this? Yeah.
So the wedding's over, and we go out down in Camden. They had the reception down in Camden, out by the Revolutionary War battlefield down there.
Oh, at the, wow, what's the name of
Hut.
the house?
It's called
The hut.
What's the name of the big house, though,
That's
that they rent
on
out?
into Camden.
Yeah.
That's proper.
Okay.
This one was a little bit outside, kind of coming back toward where we lived. But after they came in there and they did everything and they cut the cake and they took all the pictures, and after all the pomp and circumstances were done, Mandy brought him over and said, "Dana, this is Dennis."
Yep. That's what we
And
met.
that was the first time I met him, right then, right there. Yeah.
Which the hut where we had our reception was the same place he asked me to marry.
Oh.
That was
Yeah.
that was a dance going on.
Yeah,
day.
that was a dance.
Was it a senior citizens dance?
It actually kind of was. It was. It was a my mama's boyfriend at the time's brothers had a band, old country western type hillbilly music. I can't remember, and so we went. Mom asked us to go, and we living in Moss Creek in Casey. We stopped by the Bilo. He bought flowers, and I was like, well, "Who you buying flowers for?" He said, "Your mama. She's so sweet." I said, "Oh, that's so sweet." Then we get home. We get to the dance, and then not halftime, intermission or whatever you call it. They took a break. He takes me out there, and there's a chair, and he asked me to marry him right in front of all 250 people. So yeah,
That I didn't know.
yeah,
Not a soul.
yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, so we at the reception because we wanted alcohol at the reception. You couldn't do that at the church.
Yeah,
That's
Baptist churches.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
So yeah,
No. Second Baptist.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'd-
I'd only ever heard of First Baptist.
I'd never heard of it either.
First Baptist, Second Baptist. Yeah, we got them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we grew up together
We
in the
went to
church.
Second Baptist
We was
Church.
in the choir together
Yeah.
in the church.
Yeah, every Sunday, sometimes on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were like that, and then from '95 to '98, while I was in the Marines, I got sent to recruiting duty, which was here in Columbia, and I actually lived 3 doors down from them for those 3 years while I was here. Mostly, yeah.
That's where the
in Moss Creek?
Yeah, no,
No,
on
it-
Summerlin Drive.
Summerlin
oh,
Drive
oh.
over in Casey proper near railroad tracks there.
Right.
Oh, when you
600
said you were
yards
near
yeah,
Steel Hands.
Steel
Yeah,
Hands,
yeah.
right there next to that.
Yeah, but Steel Hands wasn't there at that time.
I know.
No, no, me and Dennis would have to drive far and wide to find beer back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
So
Hey, we talked about doing one on location somewhere.
yeah, we could do
I
it
think
at
that
Steel
would be-
Hands.
we could.
I've talked to Matt. He got it on. He'd love it.
Oh yeah.
He'd love it. Yeah.
Yeah, we go there a good
I'm in.
bit, but not like you.
No, I like Steel Hands over there. It's got a pretty good setup. But really, point of the day was I just, I want people to know that those people in that book are real people. And, and there was real consequences with going over there, even to a family. And, it was just a lot to deal with at that time for her, I'm sure. He and I had our hands full. We didn't have time to think about back here,
No,
right?
not a bit.
Because we're doing our thing over there. So they probably had to deal with the harder brunt of that than we actually did. Because when you're over there, what you feel like you're doing, and you know what you're doing, I never felt, except for my first initial getting over there. After I got there and got used to it and got into it, I never felt unsafe. I really didn't. I knew there was always a chance. Anything could happen. But I didn't feel unsafe.
No,
Did you?
I didn't either. My hair was always on fire, so I was ready. And didn't think about the consequences.
Well, and I want to say this too. I've heard Dennis say this about the age. I was 41 when he was gone. I wasn't 21, so I was mature.
Our livelihoods were established.
A lot
I
of your
worked-
younger women had issues, but we were older and mature. So that's, I think,
And that made a
contributed
big
to what
difference.
made a big difference.
It really
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
because we left on my birthday. I was 42 years old.
Gosh.
And we had flown our aircraft, also Rhode Island and North Carolina to Charleston, put them on a ship, And they're being sailed over there. And also on that ship was the 82nd Airborne out of Fort Bragg. Well, all the crew chiefs do all the work on the aircraft stuff. So we pulled them off, folded the blades back out, and got them ready to fly. All their crew chiefs are 18, 19-year-olds. And they see these 40-plus-year-old crew chiefs. We're as old as their dads. And they're like, what in the world? But we have been together so long, flying together. We flew circles around those guys because the left hand and the right hand knew what we were doing. Because we'd been together for so long. We'd been together for years. Because I'd been in that unit since 1989.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Same unit.
Same unit.
Well, when you walked in, you gave me this patch. Hold up to the camera. Gave me this patch, and so this is from your
Yep, that's our company.
your company, Company C, 1st Battalion, 126th Aviation, Catfish Company, hence the term Catfish.
We were
126.
Charlie Company, but it was just easier. The front of a Black Hawk reminds you of a catfish. It looks like
it
that.
really does. It
Yeah.
really does.
If you ever look at another one again, you'll even to look at that, yeah. And so we were Catfish Company,
Love it.
and well known all over the country.
Had a good group. He had a good group of guys. They were still stay in touch with them.
Yep.
You know, they still come down for.
And what was very fortunate, and I'm so glad, all of us come back home. If something would have happened to one of us, there'd be a piece of us still there.
Everybody came back.
Everybody came home.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good unit.
Yeah.
And you flew in some dangerous circumstances.
And the closest time I actually got killed, it didn't scare me until I showed him a helicopter, and he scared the hell out of me.
So I went up to see him one time. I was like, hey, I need to ride. I'm going up north. And he said, well, I can't fly. My bird's out of service. I said, well, what happened to it? So he's telling me the story. You tell it.
Okay, we had flown into Abu Ghraib prison. You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Where we landed was outside the gate, and there was 2 other helicopters that had already landed. They're still blades turning, and I was on the left side of the aircraft, and everybody was exiting out the right. So I really didn't have anything to do. We had people on board. They were getting out going to the prison, and they're walking to the thing. And I'm out on the other side. There's the desert. Abu Ghraib prison's behind me. Daydreaming. You know, it's a hot day. All of a sudden, I see, whoop. I'm like, what the hell is that? And about the time when the second one hit, I'm like, we're getting mortared. So I jumped back in the aircraft, and when I did, the next mortar landed blade tip just on the other side of us. And we took off. The next one come in and landed right where we were at on top of us, if we'd have still been there. The crew chief for the 2 other aircraft that were there when we landed, the shrapnel hit him in the back, tore him up. They had to fly him back to Germany. Now, I didn't know this guy. He was part of the active army of the 82nd. But we knew each other on the base and stuff. We knew who they were. My bird's down now. Well, take that back. We leave Abu Ghraib. We fly to Camp Liberty, which is not far from Bayat, where the airport is. Okay, we land and we do an inspection on the aircraft. Man, there's holes all in this aircraft. And so like, well, it didn't hit anything vital. Let's make a one-time flight back to Balad. So we get back to Balad. Now there are contractors on base that actually tear helicopters apart and work on them. And I got another bird, but it wasn't mine. He flies up. And I said, hey, come over here and look at my aircraft over here that we got blown up in.
So I go in and look at the aircraft, and you kind of, I start to see where the shrapnel's coming from the front of this thing. I'm like, oh, good Lord. And I see as it comes down to like where Dennis would be sitting, it goes up over back down.
Yep.
And I'm thinking,
What?
you should be dead.
He goes to his knees and starts crying. He says,
You should
"Dude,
be
you ought to
dead."
be dead." He says, "I'm a mortarman. I know what that does." And now I'm like, "Shit, you're scaring me now."
You should be dead. You should be dead. Yeah. And I talk about that in there too, but he should have been. And I would have broke my promise. But I looked at that shrapnel and my heart sank. And I went, "Dennis, you should be dead. You should be dead." You know?
And then I said, "Did you bring anything up from back
Yeah,
then?"
yeah,
I didn't know about this till
Such a
years later.
downer.
yeah. We need to tell Mandy any of this. Yeah, right? We were talking about it one night sitting in the backyard, I think.
Yeah, and she
Mandy was
went,
like,
"What?"
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, and just to throw a little piece on the back end of this, we did sit around yesterday and watch the NASCAR race. Ricky Stenhouse was in 5th place when he wrecked.
He wrecked again.
He
wasn't his
wrecked
fault.
again.
Wasn't his
And
fault.
5th place.
Yeah, he was running pretty good. Started 37th.
That's great.
Yeah. yeah.
How close to the end was the race?
It was. It wasn't even out of the first stage, was it?
Oh.
No, it was.
It was the first caution.
Yeah, it was the first one. But hey, it's Talladega that happens up there. Right
It
now.
does.
But anyway, so I just wanted to throw that in there. But
We're big racers.
yeah,
We are.
but I appreciate y'all coming in for this, and I'll probably have you back in here
Okay.
at some point. But yeah.
And you're welcome back anytime.
That's fine. I don't know that story. Oh, I've done heard them a million times. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, probably
Oh.
tired of hearing our story.
I used to have an old barn in the back, and that's where we'd all party at. And my kids were like, "Oh God, not again! The story again."
Same story
Same
over
story.
and over and over. Yeah, yeah. We got a bunch of them though that you ain't never heard.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Uh,
Well, perfect. We're happy to meet Mandy and Dennis, and of course Officer Cato. Congratulations again. I know we've talked it to death, but congratulations again on your bronze medal award from the Military Writers Society. Very well earned, well deserved. And we will be back next time.